Keyframe animations. Keyframe animations can be used for text or for pictures. Now first, what is keyframe animation? A keyframe is a location, one frame, on a video timeline where the video editing software is instructed to apply a certain set of characteristics such as a scale, rotation, opacity, position, etc. The change in a property setting between two keyframes is referred to as keyframe animation. Now the goal is to start a change in your video that happens over a predetermined period of time. This modification could involve altering the image scale, that is zooming in or out, changing how the image is framed, that is moving inside the frame, or any other modification that could change. To demonstrate, let's import some pictures. We'll be demonstrating this with the PIP option, that is the picture in picture. Let me come over here to an empty scene. Click on the PIP. Here I'll import, let's say, this one. And let's import another one. Let's say this one. For this particular picture, I'll crop it a bit. So come to crop. I'll crop it. Let's put them in the center closely. We will use zoom effect. What we want to achieve is, assuming in your video you are talking about two different packages people can choose from. You can use this effect to highlight the one you are talking about at a particular time. I'll extend this. Let's say in your video you are talking about this one. So here, you use this button here to apply keyframe. Then move a little bit. Then increase the scale. You'll notice that it automatically applies another keyframe down here. Between this keyframe and this keyframe, we've created an animation. Now, when you play this, you have an idea of the speed, so you know whether you increase the keyframe location or reduce the keyframe location. So it seems pretty slow, so I have to reduce the keyframe location. So when I come to the other keyframe, I'll remove it. It returns back to the original size. I'll reduce the timeline a bit and then increase. So this way I've reduced the animation to make it faster. So when you're talking about this one, you zoomed it in. When you are done, you apply another keyframe. Don't scale it yet. You move it a bit again, just the same length from the previous one, and then you reduce back to the original size. We want to make it that when it's coming back, this second one is increasing. So at the point before it starts to come down, we'll select this one and add a keyframe. Then move over to the point where it's fully back to the original size. Click back on this one and increase the size. So when we play this, both of them will happen simultaneously. You see? So this is the animation. So after talking about the second one, just the same way, you apply a keyframe, then move a little, the same space as before, and then reduce back. It will automatically apply the second one. So this is our animation. We zoom in. After demonstrating, we zoom back to this one and say what we want to say. That is the concept of animation. The same way you can use this for different things like position. If you want to use position, let's say for example, while this one is on the screen, we apply a keyframe and move a little, apply another keyframe. We want to slide this second one into the screen, so apply another keyframe. So when we come back to the first keyframe, we move it. Can we move it off the screen? Yes. Alright, so when we play the video, it slides in. To remove any of the keyframe, the moment you put your time indicator over the keyframe, you will see this keyframe button change to negative from positive. So you click on it, it will delete. And then we have our original animation. Alright, next let's talk about text animations. In the last section, we saw some basic text animations. Now let's take it further using keyframes. Okay, let's do a text slide at the bottom of the video frame. You've probably noticed sometime when you're watching news or a TV program, a text will be sliding, passing some information at the bottom of the screen. Now to do that type of animation, let's go back and select text. Now let's add a text. You can type in your text or simply copy it from a notepad or wherever you stored your notes. In my case, I'll copy it from Google Docs in one of my blogs. Okay, let's just copy some text right here. Copy. So I'll paste it. Now you notice that it's very long. So let's come to the text property. We decide the font. We'll come here, decide the size of the text. 7 is fine. So what we'll do is we'll position our text right here. We are done with text formatting. This is how I want it to look now. We'll accept. Determine the length you want your text to be. So when you come to the beginning, you add a keyframe and then come to the end of the text, the period you want the information to slide over. Then you slide your text. So depending on how you want to do it, you can leave it this way and fade it out, or you can slide it off the screen, or you can simply cut it out. Note that the amount of text you have and the length of the text clip will determine how fast or slow the animation will happen. So let's see. You see, this one is pretty fast. No one can read the information there, so we need to make it longer. So what we'll do is, we've seen the distance, we adjust it. If only there is a way to move this keyframe, but unfortunately there is none. So we'll remove this one, we'll come over here and then slide it over again. Try to maintain the same height. So let's see the distance and the speed once again. Okay, this one looks decent. I want to make it slower, so we increase it. We'll remove this animation keyframe and then move it again. Let's see. Alright, so this is what we want. So you can go a step further. You see the way it disappeared from the screen. You can go a step further to increase this. Click on this button to open the opacity. Now, because we already have a keyframe, you can take this as your input opacity and then simply move over and then apply out opacity. So what will happen is when you play, the moment it stops, it fades out. So that is how you use keyframe. You can do the same at the beginning of the video. It will fade in before it starts moving, and then when it gets here, it fades out. Another use of keyframe animation in text is to show the end credits. Just like in the movies, if your video have a long end credit that cannot be contained in one frame, you can use the position keyframe to slide it up the screen. Just like this one, you have to prepare your end credit on a notepad and then paste it in. I don't have an end credit, so I'll be using a normal text. So what I've done is simply to break it into their individual lines and giving it a little space at the center. So I'll simply copy it. Copy. So over here, I'll add a new text and I'll paste it. So you see the way it's looking. It's not looking at this text input. You see that each of them are in their individual lines. So this is how your own will be, but it's supposed to be more structured than this. Let's readjust this. I think this font is fine. We'll reduce the size. Now in this case, I don't want to make use of this background, so I come back to this formatting and clear the formatting. I'll adjust the size. So as you can see, it fills the screen. So what I'll do now is to bring it down, apply a keyframe, come to the end and move it up. You will notice the line on the top. That is to show you that you are in the center of the screen. If you go off center, the line will disappear. So use the line as a guide to maintain a straight line. Then you can slide it off the screen. So let's see the speed. So as you can see, it's pretty fast. So let's make it slower. We'll remove the keyframe, come back here, and then move it up. So let's see how it is. Right, so let's move it here so it doesn't interfere. So it happens after the video. So play. So there are many applications for keyframe, whether it's zoom, opacity, position, anything that you can change the property, you can apply keyframes to it. So in the next video, we'll be looking at adding logos, stickers, overlays, details, and doodle.